This painting, River's Reflection, rich in texture and symbolism, immerses us in a world of water, air, and reflection. The bubbles, suspended in mid-air, act as fragile windows into another realm, each one distorting and refracting reality. At the center right, a fish, partially emerging from the water, gazes outward, its eye reflecting something unseen. The cattails, trapped within the glassy orbs, suggest the intersection between the above and below, the seen and the unseen. This piece calls to mind the fluid nature of perception, what we see, and what is reflected back at us. Just as a river never holds the same shape, neither does our understanding of ourselves or the world around us. The composition balances fluidity and solidity, motion and stillness. The bubbles, which could be air trapped in water or reflections of past moments, float across the image, their transparency making them both part of and separate from the landscape. The fish, a creature of both water and instinct, seems to be in transition, caught between its natural element and the world above. Its eye, exaggerated and detailed, holds the weight of experience, a witness to both worlds. This connects to themes of self-awareness, the watching mind, and the inescapable act of seeing oneself through distorted mirrors. The cattails and reeds, reaching toward the sky, are both reflections and real. Are we seeing the landscape itself, or are we only seeing its echo within the bubbles? The way the environment merges suggests the impermanence of perception. Nothing is as fixed as it appears. The water, painted with warm golden tones, contrasts with the cooler blues and greens of the foliage and fish, creating a harmonious tension between elements. The fish does not see the water in which it swims. Zen, proverb. This painting invites the viewer to consider the nature of perception and illusion. In Zen, the idea of mirrors and reflections is used to illustrate the way the mind constructs reality. Just as the bubbles in this painting show warped images of the world, so too does our mind create distorted perceptions of life. The fish, if it represents the self, does not fully comprehend the water, much like we do not fully comprehend the systems we live within. Our minds constantly generate interpretations, but rarely do we question them. The moment we do, we catch a glimpse of something greater. Zen teaches that to awaken is to recognize the illusion of separation. The water, the fish, the sky, and the observer are not distinct. They are all part of the same moment. This painting resonates with hexagram 29, Can, the abysmal water. Can represents deep water, danger, and self-reflection. It teaches that true wisdom comes from moving with the current rather than against it. Water can be seen as both obstacle and clarity. It distorts and reveals in equal measure. This hexagram advises that one must flow with life's challenges rather than resist them, just as the bubbles in this image drift effortlessly with their surroundings. Another relevant hexagram is hexagram 61, Zhongfu, Inner Truth, which speaks to seeing beyond illusion. It suggests that only by looking inward can we truly understand what is real. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Lao Tzu. The Tao Te Ching often uses water as a metaphor for the natural flow of existence. This painting captures a moment of suspension, where the water holds both clarity and movement. The bubbles act as temporary lenses, distorting but not fully obscuring what lies beneath. Just as the Tao teaches that all things are transient, these orbs remind us that clarity is always shifting. The more we try to grasp it, the more it eludes us. The fish, symbolizing the self, is caught in this moment of transformation. Its eye, reflecting something beyond the frame, suggests that true vision is not external, but internal. We emphasize that awakening is not a final destination, but an ongoing process. This painting illustrates that concept beautifully. The fish, the bubbles, and the landscape all suggest layers of reality, each one slightly different from the other. This perspective reminds us that truth is not something out there, waiting to be found. It is embedded in our everyday experiences, if only we have the patience to see it. The bubbles symbolize our habitual thoughts, fleeting and impermanent, yet constantly shaping how we see the world. Learning to see through them without attachment is part of the practice. We often speak about perspective and creative flow. In art, as in life, what we focus on determines our experience. This painting challenges the viewer to shift their perception. Are the bubbles obstacles, or do they reveal hidden aspects of the world? Is the fish emerging, or is it dissolving into its surroundings? The ambiguity forces us to engage actively with the image. We encourage artists to trust their instincts and embrace uncertainty. Similarly, this painting does not provide clear answers. It is an invitation to explore. This piece embodies the idea that reality is never static. What we perceive is always in motion, shaped by our mind, our memories, and the conditions around us. The bubbles in the image remind us that every perspective is temporary, just as thoughts arise and disappear. The fish, frozen in its moment of awareness, represents that instant when we recognize the shifting nature of truth. This painting teaches us that what we see depends on how we look. The more we try to grasp meaning, the more it escapes us. But if we sit still, watching, the water clears on its own. Take a moment to reflect on how you perceive the world. What assumptions shape your reality? What bubbles distort your vision? Try an experiment. Spend a few minutes in silent observation, whether it's watching the ripples in a pond, the way light moves through a window, or the shifting expressions on a stranger's face. Notice how your mind projects meaning onto what you see. Like the fish in this painting, we are all caught in the river of perception. The challenge is not to escape it, but to learn how to see clearly, without attachment. Can you let go of needing one fixed truth? Can you allow yourself to see beyond the surface?